Hi everyone, back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day, and it's a thought about a player who I'm a big fan of, I must say, from the jump here before I get attacked in the comments, but he is regressing so badly in this Newcastle United squad. I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm going to try to unpack it because I don't think it's all necessarily his fault. I was maybe a little bit harsh on him in the post-match when I said we should sell him. I still stand by that, but I'm not sure who would actually buy him given his latest injury record and lack of form. Who am I talking about? Of course, I'm talking about Joe Willock. Come on, you Maggies. Where are those days gone? So if you cast your mind back to Joe Willock, who arrived in Newcastle United from Arsenal, he came with a record of being an attacking midfielder who was great arriving in the box and getting goals, and bloody hell, was he not? He scored 7 goals in 7 games, I think being the youngest ever player in the Premier League to achieve that feat, beating Lukaku's record, I think it was. He equalled Papa Cissé's goal scoring streak with Newcastle United as well. I think Alan Shearer's as well in there, and he looked like a proper arriving in the box goal scoring midfielder a la Frank Lampard, and we were thinking, hey, we've got a player on our hands here. The loan deal went pretty well, the spell went well. We bought him for 28 million quid, and he did all right, but he didn't kind of become that goal scorer again. And then Eddie Howe came in. He looked at this player and he said, you know what, I'm going to change this player from this arriving in the box goal scorer and kind of number 8 midfielder to this all-around ball-carrying workhorse midfielder. And for a lot of the times, we all thought that was for the better for Joe Willock. But now I'm not entirely sure. Now, Eddie's had a great track record with coaching the best out of the players that he was inherited from the takeover or pre-takeover, should we say, with the shape of Miguel Almiron. Certainly Joe Linton's the big success story, and Joe Willock is in that mix as well as Sean Longstaff. And Eddie's had a great track record with most of those players, but I'm starting to think or question, has Eddie Howe coached the most instinctive, best part of Joe Willock's game out of his game? And that is his ability to arrive in the box and score goals, which is something that this squad absolutely lacks in spades. We've talked about the squad imbalance. You've got a lot of workhorse midfielders, but you don't have anybody who can come on and get you a goal or particularly slip a through ball through, with the exception of Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali, and probably Louis Miley from what we saw early on in terms of his appearances last season. There's not many midfielders that can do that. Most of them just run around and they get in the way and they work hard and they win the ball back and all that kind of stuff. When they get the ball, they don't really do a lot with it. Even Joe Linton, who is a destroyer, he's not very good on the ball. So, having a midfield that could, have a variety of players, including one that can arrive in the box when needed to tuck a ball away with a really good level of finishing, which is what Joe Willock used to be. I'm starting to think that maybe Eddie has coached that out of the lads' game. Now, there is mitigations here. If you look at Joe Willock's, kind of appearances in Newcastle, the big one was the injuries that he had. Obviously, last season, he was out, I think, 38 games he missed in total. He had a hamstring injury to start with, then he had the 2 Achilles tendon setbacks on his ankle. He come back against Man United way earlier than he should have done, and he showed you what Joe Willock was all about. He got the ball, he drove, and he scored a great goal. But we haven't seen that Joe Willock for a while. So, yes, injuries are certainly playing their part in Joe Willock's regression in this Newcastle United team. He doesn't seem to have that same zip. He looks like he's lost a yard of pace. And if he's not going to be the player that can get the ball and take it 15 yards up the park with pace, and he's not going to be the goal scorer and attacking midfielder that he was when he arrived, what is he going to be? What is Joe Willock's identity? What does he bring to this squad? That's a question that you've got to ask yourself. But there is another problem here as well. It isn't just the bad luck with injuries with Joe Willock or potentially Eddie Howe coaching a really instinctive part of his game out of his game. There's also the mismanagement of the squad. So Mark often says this, and he's absolutely right. He's bang on the money with it. Joe Willock's biggest strength was linking up with Joe Linton on the left-hand side in Newcastle United attacks, driving up that left-hand side. The two of them interchanging, obviously left wing and left-sided midfield. They were brilliant. They were attacking teams with threat. you know, they moved positions. You couldn't keep a hold of them, you couldn't track them, you couldn't mark them. And they had so much success there. And what did Newcastle go and do? They went and signed Anthony Gordon, who played in the left wing, which totally changed that dynamic and broke that up. And, you know, then we went and signed Harvey Barnes, who signs in the exact same position as Anthony Gordon, as a left winger, likes to cut in on his right foot. Now, it drives me fucking mad that in modern day football, a right footer can't play on the right wing, apparently. It drives me up the fucking wall. It really does. You know, you go back to some of the best wingers of the generations that certainly I grew up watching. Ryan Giggs, left-footed left winger. David Beckham, right-footed right winger. Newcastle, Keith Gillespie, right-footed right winger. Ginola, left. Robert, left. Solano, you know, right-footed right winger. This new craze of wingers having to be on the wrong side and cut inside in the right peg is ruining the wide position for me, and the ability to play players in those positions. I mean, you know, you should be able to put Gordon or Barnes on the right hand side, and they should be able to use their right foot to a good level on that right hand side. It drives me at the fucking wall, it really does. But going back to Joe Willock, if he's now no longer got a position in the wide areas of a front three or in that midfield three, because you have two kind of, ball kind of usage players in Tonali and Bruno, and then Joe Linton's the warrior that smashes into people. Where does Joe Willock fit in the grand scheme of things? I'm starting to wonder whether Joe Willock was a player that the club maybe would have looked to have sold, but the injuries maybe prevented that. And, you know, the fact that he is injured and so out of form now, you're not going to get anywhere near the value you want for the player. So, again, it's a mismanagement of the player in terms of his playing time and his position on the pitch as well. The injuries are just bad luck. I don't think you can do anything about that. Again, the whole James Bunn's thing coming in to improve fitness of players. Is he even doing anything? We don't know. There's no transparency there from the club. We don't know what he's introducing. Ever since he's come in, the players seem to look even more knackered than ever. So I'm not sure it's working at all. I know it's early days, but whatever he's implemented doesn't seem to be working to me. But Joe Willock is regressing so badly in this Newcastle squad, and I really don't like it because I'm a massive fan of Joe Willock. I love his game, you know, his pace, his quality. You know, it's there for everyone to see. But you look at him now, he tries to break out wide, and he's not even getting past slow defenders. You know, he tries that outside of the foot pass that he did against Spurs all the time, and it's just scouted by people, and he just seems to be easily found out. He's lacking the pace that he used to have. He doesn't seem to be fit. He looks like he's blowing 10 minutes on the pitch, and I really worry about what's going to happen to Joe Willock. And I just wonder whether Eddie Howe needs to get a hold of this situation with the player and maybe get him back to that number 8 attacking midfielder that can get goals when your strikers are misfiring like they are right now. You know, because we've only really got Harvey Barnes that can do that, who cuts inside from wide and smashes one in the back of the net. You know, out of those two players, if you could get anybody to play as almost a number 8 attacking midfielder, it's probably going to be Joe Willock, because that's what he grew up doing. So this is a big test as well as to whether Eddie can maybe get the best out of Joe and get him back to that goal scoring midfielder that he maybe used to be, because he doesn't seem to have the pace anymore to carry the ball 15, 20 yards like he used to out wide. That seems to have gone. Maybe these injuries have taken a toll. It might just take time for him to strengthen his body up to get back to that level, but I'd be more than happy to see Joe Willock as an attacking midfielder getting into the box and getting those goals again, because I still think he possesses that finishing ability. He just doesn't use it, or he's not allowed to use it in this current Newcastle United setup. But it is a worry that he's regressing so badly. Midfield was a position where we thought we had so much strength and depth, but realistically, a lot of them aren't performing right now, and that strength and depth looks as deep as a fucking paddling pool, because you've only got the 3 players, and outside of that, you sub them 3, the quality drops exponentially. It's too early to see what Louis Miller's going to come back like, because he's just come back from injury. I love that player. He's a really, really good player. He might come in and influence the game and be brilliant, you know, find those through passes. I don't understand why Howe didn't bring him on Saturday over Sean Longstaff, who, you know, works hard and runs around, but he does not have that pass in him. You could see that from Saturday as well. But there's some serious questions to ask, and I don't know what's going to happen with Joe Willock. But let us know in the comments below what you guys think about the regression of that player. What do you put it down to? Is it just the injuries, or is Eddie Howe's coaching of the player got something to do with it? He's coached out that natural goal-scoring instinct from the player, and he's turned him into a ball carrier who now can't seem to carry the ball because his body won't allow him to do it. We'd love to hear from you. Smash a comment in. We'll take a time to reply. Like and subscribe if you like this kind of a thing, guys. Keep it ever more. Like the video, help the channel grow. We'll be back with some more Newcastle United banter soon. Have a belter. See you later.
Newcastle United 3.